Hi, welcome to Outer National Studios. I'm Saylor. Thanks for coming back and joining us again. If you like what we're doing, please hit the like button and subscribe. If you get a chance, we would really appreciate it. This is a video about how to build your dream guitar and why you should build your dream guitar versus buying something that's like $2,000 that's like a awesome already done guitar, because you can actually pick out what you want to put on your dream guitar instead of having someone else do it for you, right? It's better. So if you don't have all that kind of money sitting around to spend on a brand new Sir guitar or a PRS or something like that, what you can do is what I did, which is just, find you a good neck. It's very important to find a good neck. This neck is something that was on another guitar I had. It's a 75th anniversary. It's got a little logo right here. And that was the beginning of this guitar. I think it was on like a Sunburst body. It wasn't even a Fender body. But so I took the neck and I found this body at a guitar store that I work at. It was pretty cheap. And so I got the body and put the neck on it. And then I decided to pick out what kind of tremolo system I wanted, because I definitely love a good tremolo system. And I looked at a bunch of videos to see what the best trim was, and I ended up getting the Vega trim. Vega trim is awesome. You will not be let down. It is a floating system, so you can pull up as well as down, and it returns to zero better than most, which means it stays in tune, which is what you want, and it doesn't even require a locking nut. So speaking of locking, in lieu of the locking nut, I got these locking tuners, which are hip shot tuners. They're staggered. They go from tallest to shortest, and the hip shot locking tuners are fantastic as well. So with that, it was time to figure out what kind of pickups that I wanted, and these are Lindy Fralin pickups. They are so good. They make fantastic sounding pickups. They make a bunch of different kinds. All of them are good. You will not be let down. This is a humbucker, single coil, and this actually has a split. So you can pull up that tone knob right there and humbucker, single coil. And then the other trick about the Lindy Fralin pickups and the pick guard, pre-wired pick guard, which I got all assembled like this, is this tone pot down here is a blend for the neck pickup and the bridge pickup. So you have all the way up, so it kind of blends the two together. And that sounds fantastic. It gives you a lot of options. It's a very versatile guitar. With the coil split and the blend knob and having a humbucker and 2 single coils or 3 single coils, depending on where your split is at, it's just a million different sounds you can get from this thing. To finish it off, I chose a Graphtec nut and Graphtec string trees, and that just keeps it where everything is smooth, it's frictionless. They're self-lubricating nuts and string trees. So I'm going to play this thing a little bit for you and let you hear how it sounds. Put a little more dirt on it. A little more dirt. Try out the coil split. Put that back down, go to the middle pickup, and then the neck pickup. Add some fuzz to it. And that's this guitar. It's a dream guitar. I'm in love with it. I play it all the time at shows, and it stays in tune great. You can use the tremolo to dive bomb. You don't need a locking nut, and it's very versatile. I use it for rock and roll gigs. I use it for R&B gigs and everything in between. So that's the first guitar I wanted to show you. I've done this to other guitars as well. This is going to be the Telecaster, which I did show in a previous video, but I didn't go into the specs and everything that we did to it. This was it started life as a Squier, a Fender Squier Esquire. So the Esquire means it only had one pickup in the bridge, and it was, it was a Squier, so it was alright, but it wasn't great. It had a maple neck on it. But the cool thing is this body weighs almost nothing, which, after playing Les Pauls my whole life, I cherish. And also it has a gut cut in it, whatever you want to call that. I call it a gut cut. So I decided to take this body and make a Tele project out of it. So the first thing I wanted to do is find a neck that I liked. You can actually get this neck on Sweetwater. It was a brand new neck, and I have had it relicked. I've had the whole guitar painted and relicked by Tom Gaulden of Southside Guitars, and he's located in Birmingham, Alabama, where I am from, and he does a fantastic job. If you can see the paint job on this thing on the back, it's got the belt buckle rash and the serious player's rash on the neck, and so I decided to go with that neck, and I wanted locking tuners on this as well. Locking tuners are great. There's no sense in not having them, especially if you have a tremolo. So I got Grover locking tuners, which are fantastic, and they look cool too. And then I got a Bigsby. This is the Bigsby B5, I believe it is, and it's a tremolo made specifically for Telecasters, and it... little fuzz there. It stays in tune pretty good. So, the main thing about this guitar that I'd like to point out is this pickup. Now, this is off of a 1968 Fender Telecaster, and it belonged to a friend of mine who is no longer with us. His name was Rick Kurtz, and he was a fantastic guitar player. I got the privilege of playing with him several times back in the day. And, back in the 80s, everybody was replacing their pickups because they wanted something hotter, something better. And the owner of Highland Music kept this in the safe at the shop since they replaced it, thinking that one day he would use it for something. I'm really good friends with him as Don Murdoch. Shout out to Highland Music. And he actually gave me this pickup and was excited when I told him I was doing a Tele project. It's kind of a way to keep the vibes that Rick Kurtz had and let them live on in a guitar, which is what he would have definitely wanted. So I took that, put it in the bridge, and I got another Lindy Fralin pickup to put in the neck. Now, speaking of Lindy Fralin, this is how cool he is. I called Lindy on the phone, and he answered, which is nuts to begin with. Such a nice guy. And I told him that I had this, but it didn't have any output because I think it had been damaged at some point along the way, probably rolling around in the safe for, however many years. And so I told him I had this and that I also had a Lindy Fralin pickup, and he said, well, is it this or is it that? I said, I don't know. It's a Telecaster neck pickup. And he said, well, send me both of them because I'll make sure that they play well together. And so I said, all right, sounds good. And so I sent him both of these pickups, and within a week and a half, he sent them back, and he did a fantastic job. And this is what they sound like. This is all clean on the bridge pickup. This is the middle position. And then this is the neck. Put a little dirt on it. And that's this Telecaster. It's a dream guitar. Plays smooth as silk, sounds fantastic, and it looks cool thanks to Tom Gaulden. I did have a guy help me with the build of it because I am not really good at putting guitars together from scratch myself most of the time. So I have a guitar tech that does it. His name is Harold McCullum, and he works at Highland Music. He's the best. He does a great job on guitars, and he's a good guy. So he does a lot of the harder stuff. You know, I put on the tuners, and I can wire up a pickup, but when it comes to putting a neck on a body and making sure that the bridge and everything is lined up and it plays smooth, like, that's for him. So he helps me out a lot. Tom helps me out a lot. Tom Gaulden, Southside Guitars. So that's this one. We're going to move on to the next of my projects. Now this one may be a little unusual. Most people that are into vintage tellies aren't really into vintage BC Riches, but let me tell you, they're the Gibson of 80s pointy headstock guitars. So this one is special because I had one of these when I was a teenager. I got it from Highland Music for probably, not this one, but probably like $100 back in the day, and I wore it out. It was exactly like this, except the headstock was reversed. And also it had diamonds on the fret inlays instead of dots. But other than that, it had the same pickup knob configuration, 2 humbuckers, and it came with the BC Rich tremolo, which was not the greatest. This is a Platinum Series Warlock, and apparently the tremolos that came on there just were kind of their version of a Floyd Rose. But when it came time to get another one of these, I lost my original one along the way somewhere, and I looked for one for years, and then finally I found a really good deal on one. I think I got it from Florida from a girl who was selling a lot of heavy metal guitars. I wish I remember her name. I'd give her a shout out. But she had this, and I think I got it for $600, which with inflation, you know, the first one was $100. It was a while ago. This one was a pretty good deal. So I got this, and I decided I wanted to put the best tremolo that I could find on it. So again, I did some research on locking tremolos, Floyd Rose style tremolos. And I found that the Saylor Lockmeister tremolos had a really good reputation. And I took a chance, and I got it. Had my guy Harold McCullum put it in, and he does a fantastic job on Floyd Roses. And this thing stays in tune great. You can ask my guitar tech, Kelsey. It is a really good guitar, and it sounds great, looks great, and stays in tune with this trim. I'll play it a little bit for you. So now it's time to talk about these pickups. These, again, you guessed it, Lindy Fralin. So this is their classic humbucker, and this is the noiseless P90. So I got them both in black chrome, which I thought looked really cool on this guitar. And I forgot, I got to tell you about these. These are Graphtec ratio locking tuners. And I know I got a locking nut, but I got locking tuners too. I couldn't help it. They were just so cool. So let's go through some of these sounds. I'm going to get a little cleaner of a sound on this pedal board. I'm going to tell you all the pedals and the amps and stuff here in a minute. So this is the bridge. Also, this is a coil tap. Cool split. Then you got the middle position. And then the noiseless P90, which sounds great clean. Put a little dirt on it. Back to the bridge. And that's the BC Rich Warlock. It's fantastic. I can't say enough good things about it. And it looks cool. The three things about guitars that I always think about when I'm about to get a new guitar: does it look good, does it sound good, and does it play good? All these guitars got 3 out of 3. So that's that. The amps, before I tell you about the last guitar, the amp and the pedals that we're using are, we have a Silverface Fender Bassman, which is over here in the corner on a little shelf, hidden. And it's the Drip Edge Fender Bassman, and it's on the normal channel in the first input. And we've got it going through this Marshall 212 cabinet. Now, this is a Marshall Origin vertical 212, and I kind of customized it as well. Can you tell I like customizing things? I did a open back mod on it, and that just means that I took the back off, sawed it in half, and put it back on. I took the original speakers, gave them away immediately, and I put Celestion EVH greenback, even though it's not really a greenback anymore. It's got the EVH red and white stripes on it. And I put an Alnico blue, a Celestian Alnico blue in it as well. So the EVH is on the top and the Alnico blue is on the bottom. And that combination I've used in several cabinets. It sounds fantastic. So the pedal board is a little unusual too. I have two different pedal boards, two different bands, a pedal board for each band. So I have, for a little dirt, I have a Greer Lightspeed. For a little more dirt, I have an Analog Man Prince of Tone. For even more dirt, I have a Full Tone OCD. And then for fuzz, I just got a new Big Muff tone wicker pedal today, as a matter of fact. For reverb, it's a Flint Strymon. For delay, I have a Strymon El Capistan. And there's a few other little toys on here, but that's the main part of it. I have a volume pedal. I have a Strymon Ola chorus and vibrato pedal. I have an MXR micro flanger and a Boss TU3 tuner. And that's this pedal board. So that's the gear that I'm playing through. Brings me to the last guitar. This is not done yet. There are no strings on it. I wanted to show y'all this before I finished it. This is another Strat that I got a neck. I liked the neck. Got a body because it was a cool black body. It came off of another Squire. And I got the David Gilmour EMG DG20, I believe is what they're called, pickups. They're fantastic, and we're gonna keep an eye on this one as the project develops. I'm gonna have my friends help me out, and I've got a Vega trim that I'm gonna have installed on this, and I got some Fender locking tuners I already put on the other night. The pickups sound so good, I can't wait to show y'all this. But stay tuned for some more updates on this project. There's gonna be a part 2, and we'll see how that goes, and I'll be able to play you a little bit of that. We'll compare that to my other Strat as well. But the best way to do a dream guitar is to make it yourself. And you can save some money. You can also pay for it a little bit at a time. You know, you get a body, you get a neck, you get a tremolo, you get a pickup. You don't have to get it all at once. You can get these things as you find good deals on them. And you can take your time and do the research and make sure it's exactly what you want, you know. I've got a lot of different locking tuners on all these, and each one of them is different from a different company, but they're all really good, you know, at different price points. So, haven't had a bad one yet, but, you know, I try to do my research and find parts and pieces that make sense for the project that I'm working on. And you can do this too, you know. Let me know in the comments if you have anything that you've been working on, or if you've got your own dream guitar that you've built. And I want to hear about it. Let's talk about it. That's my episode for today. Thanks for stopping by. Stay tuned for some more cool guitar stuff and studio stuff and drum stuff as we go. Thanks a lot. Talk to you later.